A man masturbating in a park, hiding behind trees, looking at kids playing. I was quite young and sex was taboo. Wish I were older so I had the balls to report. What's the most NSFW thing you've witnessed in public? Oh man, I'm so excited to see my oogly moogly viewer again. Do you remember me? If you don't, I'm Andrew your storyteller, and boy do we have a good one today. While you're here, why don't you hit the like button and subscribe, this way you won't miss any more of my story times. And if you do, I'll get Ty Lopez to give you one of his Lambos. Hope you did that, let's get into the stories. I witnessed a guy finger a girl on the dance floor of a nightclub. It was weird, pointed it out to my friends, then we got McDonald's. While riding my bike home from school, I rounded a corner to see two other students going at it in the middle of the bike trail. Like, there was a whole forest, but nah, this busy bike trail will work. Bloke getting his brains shot out by some other bloke. For them, it was probably part of the job, some underworld criminal thing, but it wasn't something suitable for my work. Nope. When I was 16, 1990, I was walking through Copenhagen Central Station when I saw two homeless guys. One was sitting on a bench getting a blowjob from the other guy while hitting him repeatedly on the head with an umbrella. Witnessed a woman giving some dude a BJ in a parked car one morning while I was riding the bus to school. Bus was stopped in traffic and I just happened to look down at the parked car next to us. There she was just going to town. She happened to look up as the bus was pulling off. We made eye contact. She had a guilty look on her face. Old woman shuffled into my shoe department stockroom, hoisted her skirt, and proceeded to spray diarrhea all over the cement floor and the shoe boxes on the bottom shelves in her vicinity. Coworker then proceeded to vomit. Needless to say, it was not safe to work until a housekeeping team cleaned up and loss prevention salvaged out a few $100s worth of shoes. Streets of New York. Around 3 p.m. or so. A drunk couple were walking down the street. Calling their travel walking is even a stretch. They were pulling themselves down a fence which made it look like there was some strange force pulling them backwards. Anyways, the lady faceplants on the sidewalk and rises to her knees. She starts blowing this dude all the while blood is straight pouring out of her face. I ran inside to grab someone to witness the show, and when I got back they were gone. Couple of years ago I took my first girlfriend on her very first camping trip in a local national park. After walking about 20 minutes from the car park, we took a little break at a clearing with picnic tables, accompanied by a couple of families with small children. Minutes later, a legion of 7 to 8 bare-breasted women dressed in vaguely elvish loincloths and fake ears arrived at the spot. With them were a couple of guys with cameras and lighting equipment. What followed can be best described as an elf bondage porn photo shoot spectated by us, small children and their horrified parents. 5/5 got to see elf boobies, and GF was totally into it. Parking lot of a Denny's. Homeless woman pulled down her pants and began cleaning her snatch with wet wipes she'd stolen from a KFC. I'll always remember the look on the faces of the family in the minivan with Ontario plates. They'll never forget that vacation. One woman and one man hobo were walking through the city center of the town where I lived some time ago. Suddenly the woman puts down her bags, opens up the dude's zipper, and starts giving him a blowjob in plain daylight. I wish I was kidding, but I've witnessed hobolatio, and it was pretty distressing. Walking home from a bar, I got to watch a guy and a girl ducking in front of the public library. They were using a no-frills plastic grocery bag as a condom. Dude was holding the hand cutouts while going at it. I'll never unsee that yellow grocery bag moving around like that. Even the words on the bag that said the no frills motto won't be beat. I laughed out loud as I walked by, but I think I got a bit scarred from that. I also bet a pregnancy occurred. There is a local prostitute that everyone in my coffee shop, many in the neighborhood, knew by name. She was very kind when she wasn't hopped up on drugs, which was extremely rare. She had a very rough life. One winter night, she came in with her skirt hiked up to high heaven and not wearing any underwear. She stood in front of the window and just started dancing. I went up to her and told her she needed to leave if she was going to do that, or she could sit down and have a coffee. She replied with, "How else will I find a husband?" I, working as a security guard years ago, had an awkward experience. I was doing my patrol in a Verizon utility vehicle lot next to a downtown area. There was an event going on near the lot, so the street was packed with cars. There was a car that recently drove on the premises, and since it's a private property area, I had to tell them to vacate the area. As I walked slowly to the car, I saw a man with his eyes closed and his head reclining on the driver's seat. I thought the guy was trying to get some rest. As I walked right next to the vehicle, I took out my flashlight and lightly tapped the window to wake the man. At that moment, I peered down and saw a moving clump of hair moving up and down from the man's crotch. Not a second later, the man opened his eyes and stared in fear as I looked at him with a stare of awkwardness. I did what any self-respecting guy would do at that moment. I turned around, gave the dude a thumbs up, and walked away. Got to my post and sat there for a couple minutes, laughing my ass off so hard. A few minutes later, the same car drove right next to the post, and the guy rolled down his window and gave me a thumbs up sign. At that moment, I've never felt like a true bro. Melt Festival 2011. It's early in the morning and the sun has started to rise. I take a look around and feel awed by the enormous DDR machines that surround me here in Ferropolis. I look up at the largest one, and I see two tiny figures getting it on at the very top. I felt like I was the only one seeing this, and I just couldn't keep my amazement to myself. So I went up to the nearest guy and pointed up. And he did the same. And so did the next. A few minutes later, we're a huge crowd watching this guy pound the hell out of this girl on top of this giant crane. Security is watching, but not interfering. Conversely, they're enjoying the moment. After some time, the guy looks down, notices all of us cheering him on, and while continuing his rhythmic movements, triumphantly raises his fist into the air. His victorious gesture was answered by our cheers. It was NSFW in every way, probably no condom either, but it was glorious. I used to work at a strip club, but honestly it was kind of more like a brothel. We had private lap dance rooms with no visibility, so obviously people were doing things they shouldn't fairly regularly. One time a guy got a dance with two girls. He goes up with them to a private room. A few minutes later he runs out covered in crap and vomit, and both girls run out half undressed and run to the dressing room. Apparently he decided to finger one of the girls in the ass, and she crap everywhere. The other girl got some on her and then threw up all over the place. I never saw any of those people again. Edit. Glad to see my suffering has earned me gold. I named the club in the comments. Enjoy, tip your strippers well, and don't engage in spontaneous anal. My friend and I bought a pizza and decided to go eat it on the local beach while watching the sunset. Some girl getting a photo shoot done in a bikini decided that the ambience was just right to make the photo shoot a naked one. My friend threw a piece of pizza crust towards the girl, and she got swarmed by seagulls. Edit. Wow, replies went interesting ways. My friend and I are both straight females in our late teens at the time, and this happened on a Tuesday evening around 5:30 p.m. on a public, very visible beach. Couldn't really have given a rat's ass about nudity, but she started at the other end of the beach and moved towards us, not the other way. My friend basically made a snap decision, and it was ducking funny. It wasn't some art thing either, she looked like she was shooting for Ralph. Nothing wrong with that either, but as someone with a labia, I'd be avoiding trying to jam sand in there. I'm Australian and we would describe her as 100% bogan. I once saw a mentally challenged kid take a crap on the floor of a Subway, the sandwich shop, not a train. His mother was at the counter ordering their sandwiches, and the kid is just spinning in circles looking up at the ceiling when he stops and goes uh-oh. He takes down his pants all the way to the ankles, squats, and just lets fly a wretched load of ass candy right there on the floor. His mother pays for their food, turns towards the soda fountain to fill their drinks up, and actually just calmly steps over the pile of crap to get their drinks. She takes her son's hand and they walk out. She never once acknowledges the fact that her human son just took a crap on the floor of a restaurant full of people. All the customers are enraptured by what we've just witnessed, and nobody is sure what to do. It's dead silent as we all kind of look around at each other, then to the heap of festering crap, then to the employees behind the counter. Finally, one young kid working there comes out from behind the counter with a mop bucket and a wet floor sign. One brave customer soldiers on and bites into a baked Lay's chip, the crack of which shatters the cavernous silence like a whip breaking the sound barrier. Thanks for watching. What did you think of the story time? Let me know in the comments below. If you liked the video, smash that like button and subscribe so you don't miss any more story times.